Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Billy the Bat Boys Corner. Today we have New York Yankees legend Sparky Lyle. Thank you for coming on.
My pleasure, man. We're just hanging out right now, right?
Yep.
All right.
You played for both the Yankees and the Red Sox. During that time, how big was the rivalry?
It wasn't as big as it is today. You know, I think they actually really hate each other now, but it wasn't like that back in the day. I mean, we had a few brawls and stuff like that, but it all started with the "you suck" thing. You know, that carried it on. But today, it doesn't look good.
What was the biggest difference between the two organizations?
Oh, they're both great organizations. I mean, the Red Sox are the ones that brought me to the big leagues, and as I'm sure you know, the Yankees and the Red Sox, they don't make many trades, and so that was worked out really good for me, and I always wanted to be a Yankee, and I love to this day I still love the Red Sox, and I enjoy pitching in Fenway and a beautiful ballpark, and I think they're both just class organizations.
What do you remember most about George Steinbrenner, and was he a tough guy to work for?
Well, he was tough when he first became the owner of the Yankees, because he didn't know a thing about baseball. And I mean, if a guy made an error out in the field, he wanted to get rid of him right away. And everybody's trying to tell him you can't do this. And I think one of the biggest mistakes that he made was the first time he fired Gene Michael, who was probably one of the best baseball men of this modern day era, I would say. And if he'd have listened to him, we'd have been fine. And not that we weren't fine, but after a couple of years, everything kind of melded into place. And George was actually a good guy. He was tough on you, but you know what? You could have an argument with him and say what you wanted to say, and the next day it was over. Back to square one again. It was very good.
Well, after all those years, what was it like to finally win a World Series in 1977?
Yeah, well, we got there in '76. We were probably the last team to be in 3 straight World Series, and the Reds beat us, and then we beat the Dodgers in '77 and '78. But there isn't anything like that feeling of winning your first World Series, and it's just I think everybody says the same thing. You got to be there. That's all I can say.
Also in '77, you won the Scion Award. What was that season that clicked and led you to success?
Well, it wasn't so much that the season clicked. I mean, I had a better year in '72, but it was just back then. You're too young to remember this, but they didn't even take relief pitchers to the All-Star game. They would take all starters and put them in the bullpen, and so that was really a big deal for me, winning the Cy Young, because they just they kind of just pushed the relievers aside. And I think after that, the relievers became more noticeable, and what they started doing, they started grooming guys to be relievers, where before there was just a guy who couldn't start anymore. So a lot went on that year after I won that Cy Young.
You're known as a prankster. How important do you think it is to keep it light in the clubhouse?
Well, hey, I've always had fun, and I've been playing sports all my life, and I was never one of those guys that, hey, I hate losing as much as anybody does, but I'm not going to go beat the hell out of a locker or whatever, because especially in baseball. I mean, you play 162 games. You got to get ready for the next day, and so the prankstering, so to speak, was just a way of having some fun in the clubhouse. Nothing was ever planned. It just seemed to kind of happen and develop. Whatever the case, which even made it a little funnier. I didn't go in there saying, okay, today I'm going to give so and so a hot foot or whatever. I mean, the person that the prank was pulled on usually determined what I did to him. So that's the best way.
For many years now, you've been associated with the Somerset Patriots. What is your take on independent ball and how close some of these players are to getting back to affiliated ball and back to the major leagues?
Well, this is so good for them that I don't even think the players realize it themselves. You know, when we first started this league, we found out that there was close to 300 guys that would get released every year from the organizations, you know, Major League, AAA, AA, whatever, and they just went home because there wasn't any place for them to play. And if they would have played somewhere in a beer league or something, if you're a major league pitcher, nobody's going to take you because you're pitching against a bunch of guys in a beer league. And this league is so legitimate now that the scouts know when they come here, if a guy's hitting 300 in this league, he's legitimately hitting 300. It's not a joke. And the same way with the pitching. You know, if the pitcher's 6-1 or whatever, you know, he's doing his job. Plus, they know all these guys. You know, a lot of these guys come to us that are off of Tommy John, knee surgery, shoulder, whatever the case may be, but they're actually not really ready to play yet. They need probably another 2-3 months. We don't have that luxury to baby them enough to get them along, but it's certainly a good barometer. And the independent league, you know, as you know, we put over 700 guys got that second chance, and that's what you want. It's a beautiful thing. And this league here, I can remember, you know, we took a couple good college players, not only us, but other teams, and, you know, thought they'd be a good fix, but they're actually overmatched. They're overmatched here, so it's very good baseball.
Last question, what advice would you give to a younger player?
No, just work hard, stay out of trouble. That seems to be the barometer everybody wants. I don't know if you saw the NFL combines the other day or what. I mean, you see what the athletes are like now. So if you're a half-decent athlete and you look at one of these guys, you know you can't compete against that guy. You know, whoever's trying to tackle him or whatever. And all sports are the same. You got to do your work. Pitching-wise, if you can't throw strikes, I don't care if you throw 150 miles an hour. It doesn't mean anything. And I think that, you know, hitting-wise, everybody's bigger, stronger. Their bat speeds are amped up. And, you know, when you stop and think about how many guys actually throw above 97 now, I mean, that's ridiculous. You know, back in my day, we had maybe 3. And these hitters, you throw that ball down the middle, you're not going to get it back. So there you are. You know, you got to see what the barometer is and go for it.
All right, thank you.